Hey, I probably should have explained this one right from the very start. I never explained why I called this podcast I, Me, and all of the autisms. They've both parts of it have come from somewhere. I don't know. That was kind of a long, hard journey as a family. So my eldest is transgender. Um, he was born female and transitioned when he was about maybe 14. He told us that he was non-binary when he was about maybe 13 or 14, and after a while he told us that he prefers he him pronouns, and just gradually moved more towards being he him than she her, and changed his name and everything, not legally. And I felt that any kind of surgeries or anything would have to wait till he was an adult. So while I'm supportive of whatever he wants to do, I don't think he has had any surgery. He probably would have let me know, but I don't think he's had any surgeries or physical kind of therapies around this since. And he's 22 now. He's doing great. I'm so proud of him because I think the whole thing caused an awful lot of complications for him. Just in terms of, it's a massive identity crisis, isn't it? Like, not necessarily a crisis, but a massive identity change to present as female for so long and then present as male. It's a big change, and it's a lot to get your own head around yourself. Who am I? It is an identity crisis, isn't it? It's kind of, you have to have an identity crisis to realize, no, I'm not female, and I've been looking and acting and, presenting as female for a long time, but actually, no, that's not me. That's not who I am. And to actually come out and tell people and change publicly, to make a social transition, is massive. It's absolutely massive. So along with that, we had a lot of school refusal and all that going with it. And he's 22 now. He's doing fine. He's doing great. Really, really proud of him at the moment. But he's not living his life to make me proud. He's doing his thing, and he's happy doing his thing. And I'm happy that he's happy. That's it. That's all it is. So whatever he decides to do from here around that or anything else, we're supportive of him. So that's kind of it. I don't want to go into any more detail really on stuff that I presume would be kind of private to him. But we had a really tough patch there for a while. Really, not so much around the gender stuff, but around the not going to school stuff. That was really, really hard. Because I'm a teacher. That complicates, doesn't it? Like, I'm a teacher, and I really do believe I'm a teacher because I really believe that education opens doors for people and gives them a good start in life, and they learn things, and it should be good for them. It should be good for them. If it's not good for them, well, what am I doing? What am I doing with my life? And I couldn't see a way forward for him. If he wasn't able to go to school, I couldn't see a way forward. I was like, what kind of an impact is that going to have on his life? It's not like I was embarrassed that he wasn't going to school and I'm a teacher or anything like that, no, but it was more like, what is he going to do? It's not like he was not going to school and he was going off doing other things. He wasn't. He was at home. He was in his room. He was in a wardrobe some of the time, literally in the closet. I thought that was hilarious, actually. And really what actually helped him to get around to figuring things out, one of the things he did was he got involved in Fridays for Future. The environmental project that Greta Thunberg started. I don't pronounce her name properly. I'm sorry, Greta, if you're listening to me. I don't say it right. My son always tells me how badly I'm saying her name, but what can I do about that now? Sorry, apologise, that's it. But he got involved in Fridays for Future, and I remember joking about it, going, would you not consider going to school for the other 4 days, just so that striking on Fridays is actually a strike? But he didn't look at it that way at all. He said, well, look, there's lots of people who'd like to strike on Friday, but they're actually going to school, they're actually learning stuff, so they can't really, they're busy. So I'll strike on the Friday because I'm actually not doing anything anyway. But that's not how strikes work, love. You have to go to school the other 4 days and then strike on Friday. And we would be like 100 million times supportive of that idea, because you can get him back to school for 4 days a week. But no, school was horrendous for him, and I still haven't gotten to the bottom of what exactly wasn't working for him. I suspect a lot of it was around his identity, but also he just didn't click in with the people that were in his class. Whether that was gender related or something else, I don't really know. But anyway, I'm not thinking about that right now. So anyway, what I was thinking about is that it made me really think about my pronouns and what would my pronouns be. And I kind of realised that I wouldn't necessarily go with she, her either. I don't think my gender is any of anybody's business. I don't like people talking about me. So I kind of went with the they, them for a while, because I thought, well, my gender is none of anybody's business. I mean, it shouldn't matter. Like, if my gender matters to you, please go away. Like, I don't really want to be talking to you. Like, I don't mind if somebody's male or female, talking to them wise. In terms of attraction, I don't know. I'm trying to think of, like, I don't find an awful lot of people attractive. I tend to need to get to know a person before I find them attractive, and I can't remember what that's called. I know there's a word for it because my son told me what the word for it was, because we had to have many discussions about these kind of things. I can't remember the word for it, but yeah, like I would find my husband attractive, but that's about it. Like I wouldn't find a lot of other people. I would rarely, and I kind of miss attractive people. Like sometimes everyone says, oh, you know, your man from the thingamajig, you know, the really good looking guy behind the bar. And I'm like, no, I don't. But I go to that bar all the time. And then I go to the bar and I'm looking at the man behind the bar going, is he really attractive? Is he? And then I said, well, maybe he is. Yeah, like he kind of fits all the criteria for being attractive. But it just wouldn't have dawned on me that he was an attractive man behind the counter before people pointed out. I wouldn't think of that, you know, it just wouldn't be on my radar. I wouldn't notice. I don't notice it anymore with women either, you know, it just doesn't register with me. Like it's not the most important thing to me. And I would genuinely just miss it, you know. Like my gaydar isn't great either. Like I wouldn't notice if somebody was gay. It would just go right over my head. I wouldn't notice it. I remember one time going to a meeting about autism with women, autistic women, and there was a couple there who were women who were lesbians, obviously, and were together. I don't quite think they were holding hands now, but other than them holding hands, they couldn't have sent out more clues that they were together. They came together, they left together, they talked about things that linked up, but I still didn't realise that they were together. It just didn't dawn on me. It's not that I would be homophobic or something and would just presume they were both in a straight relationship with some man out there in the world. It's not that either. It just didn't dawn on me. I didn't notice they were together. I just didn't notice. And I mean, yeah, like, I mean, I suppose they fitted all the typical kind of expectations of what two lesbians would look like, you know. They really did fit the bill. Like they were very stereotypical in many ways, and I really should have spotted that. And I was laughing very much at myself going, oh my god, how did I not notice that? Like I really just don't have gaydar sometimes I do, but a lot of the time I just don't. But yeah, like, so I started thinking about my pronouns, and I realized after a while I just would prefer if people didn't think about me or talk about me. So I think it was pointed out to me that you can pick any pronouns you like. Your pronouns could be banana chocolate, you know, if you wanted to. And I thought, well, fuck it, let's go with that. I'm going to make my pronouns I, me. And I have been joking about this for some time. If anyone asks me my pronouns, I say I, me. And the reason is I, me is, like, I know I, me makes it very difficult to talk about me. Because you can't really, because people use I and me to refer to themselves. And I'd like people to not talk about me. Just leave me alone. Like, stop talking about me. Please don't refer to me in the third person. Please don't refer to me if I'm not there. You just mind your own business and go away and stop talking about me. Leave me alone. So yeah, that's what my pronouns mean. My pronouns mean I want to make it as awkward as possible for you to talk about me, because my pronouns are I, me. So if you want to say that I am calling over to you today, you'd have to say my name. You just use my name. Or because you can't say I am calling over to the house today. That doesn't make any sense. That makes no sense. So you can't do that. So you have to stop talking about me. Don't tell people if I'm calling over to your house. Just shush. Just shush, shush, shush. Don't tell anybody. You know, it's not that it's a secret. It's just I don't see why you'd be talking about it. Leave me out of it. That's it. That's my pronouns. Leave me out of it. Please don't talk about me. I don't like people talking about me, and that will be my main message with my pronouns would be, please don't talk about me. My pronouns are I, me. I will talk about myself. You don't know me. I know me. Don't say things that you don't know if they're correct or not correct. I know me. I'm going to talk about me. I think it lines up with the nothing about us without us kind of an idea too. Like, why would someone else be talking about me? About how I am or how I work, or like, can't I just talk about myself? You know? Yeah, I don't like the idea of someone else describing my reality. I don't like that. I don't like when someone says that I'm this or I'm that, or I don't like that. I'm really uncomfortable with it. I'm not just pulling the piss, saying I'm trying to be awkward. I am trying to be awkward, but because that would be, to me, that would be the perfect pronouns that people cannot, they stop people talking about me. You cannot use my pronouns. And you can't describe me without using my name. And I would actually like that. I would actually like if people would actually completely respect that and wouldn't talk about me. Yeah, it would be just awkward because they'd have to use my name and they wouldn't be able to talk about what I'm like or how I do things or anything else about me when I'm not there. If I'm there, they can say you, can't they? Yeah, they can say you did this or you said that or whatever, but they can't really I, me, about me, because those are my pronouns, to somebody else. I don't like people talking about me. And if my pronouns could be useful to me, that would be my preference, that my pronouns would provide me with that it would prevent people really from talking about me, that they just leave me alone and I will talk about me and I will tell you what I think, or I will tell you what I experience, or I will tell you what I'm doing or why I did something, rather than somebody else making up why I was doing it or what I was at or what I'm like. So that's what I wanted with my pronouns initially. And then I made it a bit of a laugh because that's how I do things, I just pretend I'm being a bit funny about it. So that's where the I, me part comes from. And of course, my podcast is very much focused on just me. I'm not talking about general autism or general ADHD. I don't even know if what I have is both of those things or some kind of a new thing that's a combination of those things, or if I have something completely different. I don't really know what I'm talking about. I know the diagnosis is that I fit. But I don't really know anything other than me. And, they do say if you meet one autistic person, you've met one autistic person. Some of our things line up, but a lot of things don't. Like something that applies to one of my children doesn't apply to another one of my children. I am just talking about me and my experience, and that's all I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to do anything more than that, because I can't do anything more than that. I don't know all about autism. I don't think anybody does, because even if you know all about autism, you don't know which parts of it relate to me. Autism isn't a specific thing. It's an umbrella term for a lot of different conditions, and we haven't really figured out what's what, which types of autism are connected to each other and which types aren't. It's not really a spectrum like a rainbow where you have a lot of it or a little of it. And like different people on the spectrum have difficulties with different things. We all have completely different profiles. It's like being female or male. It's like if neurotypicals are, say, male and autistics are female, then like we're all so different to each other that it really doesn't mean an awful lot unless you know the individual person, and then you can see. And yes, there are certain things that line up for female people. Women, often have long hair. They often like nice clothes, and they often wear dresses and kind of fancier things than men would wear. And a lot of them like shopping. I mean, you can make these generalizations, but a lot of those things are not true about me. A lot of those things are not true about a lot of women, but you can make these kind of generalizations. And, if you met someone who was a woman for the first time, you could presume that they're going to like a certain type of thing. Mind you could be wrong, but with an autistic person too, you can presume certain things, but you might be wrong because it's not true for everybody, but there's certain things that do line up a lot of the time. And obviously women relate to women differently to how they relate to men, because they have a certain self-understanding of each other. And men relate better to men sometimes because they understand men better, And then there is no clear line really between male and female. I know biologically there is, with genes, XY genes. Even then there isn't, as far as I understand. But like there isn't a clear line in our traits and our personalities between male and female. There are a lot of males who present as having a lot of female characteristics. I know there's a whole complication there with sexuality as well. A lot of gay men would present as having a lot of female characteristics, which isn't really fair because they're not female characteristics. If gay men have them and women have them, then they're a different type of characteristic. I don't know what you'd call them, but they're not directly linked to being female then, are they? They're clearly not. And are they linked to being attracted to females? I don't know. It's way more complicated than anybody thinks. And the more I think about it, the more I talk about it, the more confused I get, as opposed to the more clarity I gain. But yeah, like that's kind of how it is. So I can only really speak about autism and ADHD from my perspective because I have some weird combination of the two. And and even I think I have a slightly broader perspective than some people because I do have 5 kids who are also on the spectrum and also have ADHD. So they've got similar diagnosis but different profiles to me. I have no idea what my husband should be or could be diagnosed with, but he's interesting too. And then, of course, I'm a teacher, so I deal with lots of people who are on the spectrum or not on the spectrum as well. So I have a fair idea what a 10-year-old should be able to write. So when I'm saying my son is only able to write 2 sentences, I know that that's well off the scale of what he should be able to do. I have a perspective on that I know a lot of parents wouldn't have. They wouldn't really know. Between having multiple children and also being a teacher, I would know a lot of things that you would expect a person of that age to be able to do. It would be typical to be able to do that at that age, but he's not able to do it. So I can see the gap between him and everybody else. And there's some things he's better at than other people. And I'd wonder how everybody else is so far behind my wonderful child on his whatever it is, So yeah, it's all from my perspective. So that's the first thing. And the second part is all of the autisms. So when I was studying autism as part of my course in autism, I did a diploma in autism studies in UCC. Excellent course if you want to look into it. It's really, really good. I really enjoyed it. You can do it online, so if you live abroad, you can do it, no problem. But you can also do it in person in UCC, which was lovely, in County Cork in Ireland. I think it was it a 2-year course? I did it around 2020. Was it 1 or 2 years? I can't remember. It was a long time ago now. But I really enjoyed it. It kind of gave a very broad perspective on autism. It wasn't all about, what to do about autistic children or anything like that. It was very, very broad. It went from autistic celebrities to autism and law, and a little bit about education. It was very, very broad. So as part of that course, they were talking about how identity first, because that whole idea was just coming out around that time, or at least they were becoming aware of it on the course. I think I've already been aware of it, but they were becoming aware of identity first language. And instead of saying, I have a child with autism, which a lot of people would prefer around other disabilities, like I have a son who's blind, rather than I have a blind son. Like, that doesn't completely define my blind son. He's my son first, and then he's blind after that. But autism, a lot of people look at it differently because it is part of an identity. It's not something that's a problem. But I don't know, would a blind son not work the same? I don't quite understand that. I don't understand why other disabilities would separate the disability from the person, because I feel certainly that as an autistic person, that I am an autistic person. It's kind of like saying I'm a person who's a girl. Like, I'm biologically female, and that defines certain things about me. I'm not a person who's a mother. I'm a mother, full stop, first, before I'm anything else. That does really define my identity for me in my head. It's one of the most important things about me. And it defines every decision I make, and everything I say, everything I think has something to do with that. Everything I think about myself, I start relating it to my kids as well, because they're the most important thing to me in the world. So to me, that makes sense. You wouldn't say I'm a person who's a mother. Like, I'm not a person who happens to be a mother. I'm a mother. I am a mother, and it's very backwards to me to say it the other way around. And as an autistic person, I think I'm an autistic mother. Saying that I'm a person with autism, no, I'm not a person first. I'm autistic as part of who I am. You can't separate it. I'm an autistic person. That's the kind of person I am. I'm a female autistic person who has children. That's all me. That's all who I am. Yeah, it's funny to separate. Anyway, they were talking about that, and we were discussing the whole thing. And at the time, I don't know who was diagnosed in our house. I think just my eldest was diagnosed, and the two older boys were waiting on assessments. And just my eldest was diagnosed, and I kind of felt I should ask him what he thought about it, rather than asking everybody else what they thought about it, because he was the autistic person in our family at that time. Even though we had an inkling that there were more of us in the family. So I asked him, what's your preference? Would you prefer if I said that my son has autism, or that my son is autistic? And he said, I prefer you to say, I have all the autisms. And he said it very dramatically and stormed out of the room. I always went with that. I asked him very respectfully what he wanted. Then I tried to respect what he said. So I think it's very, 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 very linked up with who he is. He's not in some ways he's a quiet, under the radar kind of a person. And in other ways he's not, he's very flamboyant and out there. And I think he likes that kind of combination. I think I like that too. I think he likes the combination that he's both very shy and very quiet, and also, all out there. He would be very, very nervous walking into McDonald's asking if he could I get more ketchup? I don't think he'd do that. I don't know now would he do it, but certainly up to 18, he would not have done that. If we needed more ketchup, I couldn't send him to get it. I'd have to get up and get it myself. I'd send one of the other kids. My youngest would be brilliant at doing that. He'd go right up and go in behind the counter and take it, He's absolutely no kind of self-consciousness at all. He's very happy to help himself. But my eldest, no, he would not have gone up and asked for more ketchup. He just wouldn't have had the skills to do that, and he wouldn't have had the confidence to do that. And at the same time, when it comes to Fridays for Future, he was the person holding the microphone, shouting out chants and speaking in front of everybody. It really pulled him out of kind of something that wasn't himself. Was very motivating for him. And I think that's quite an autistic trait as well, isn't it? That, very motivated by something that wasn't himself, very motivated to change the world, to, save the world. But, could he get ketchup for himself? No, don't be silly. So he's both very, very timid and very quiet, and at the same time very out there about some things. A very passionate person, and also a very blended in, kind of masked kind of a person. So he's very interesting. I have learned so much from him, from being his mother, and just being someone who knows him, I suppose. I've just learned so much from watching him become who he is, and yeah, it's pretty cool. So yeah, I, me, and all the autisms. It's all about me. It's not about somebody else's autism. And please don't talk about me. You're going to find that tricky with my pronouns, aren't you? So please don't talk about me. And then the other aspect to it is all the autisms. All the autisms. We don't even know what all the autisms are. You know, we don't really know. We don't really know. And I suppose all the autisms covers all of my autisms in the house. It's not just me. We'd often joke about there being autism on the floor. My kids loved all of them. All of them individually loved lining up different things. My daughter had a bag of My Little Ponies, and she used to bring them everywhere. And she would take them out of her bag and line them up, and then put them back in her bag, and then go to the other end of the room that I was in waiting for a meeting, or, you know, whatever I was doing, and she'd take them out and line them up over there, and then she'd put them back in her bag again. Like, they didn't do anything. She didn't play with them or anything. She just took them out and lined them up. My other sons used to line up different things, tractors and cars, and Legos. We line up the Legos. We don't make stuff with them. And we do make stuff with them as well, but we line them up. According to colour or whatever. They like sorting things out and organising things. Yeah, so I would always joke about that and say, oh, look at the autism on the floor. Can we pick up the autism off the floor, please? If it's all the Legos sorted into piles by colour, you know, like, I'd like them not to be on the floor. So that's all the autisms. All the autisms is, I suppose, refers to my family, as well as being my eldest's diagnosis of all the autisms. Because, yeah, why would you say you're autistic or you have autism when you can refer to yourself as having all the autisms? It's far more dramatic. I don't know what kind of a mood he was in when he said that, but yeah, it's stuck. So now we have all the autisms. Yeah, that's what we have. We have all the autisms, or we are all the autisms. I don't know which way you want to put it. Like, you could put it identity first or not. It doesn't really matter, as long as it's dramatic and flamboyant and unashamedly autistic. It's all good. So yeah, I liked the name, and I don't really know what else it could allude to. I don't know really. I, me, that's me, and all the autisms that are in my head, all around me. All the autisms are all around me and have been for a long time, but I didn't know they were the autisms at the start. Yeah, so yeah, we talk about things like that in our house. Yeah, so I hope it makes a little bit more sense. That's really all I have to say about it. Yeah, okay. Talk to you soon. Bye.